Good evening, Rabotai. Shavua Tov. This is a very special occasion tonight. There should be in this room, according to justice, at least 100,000 people. 100,000 is very, very minimal. For the words of Rabbi Rosenfeld, it went through the entire Brooklyn, America, Canada, Eretz Israel is beyond imagination. First, I'd like to say a special refuah shlema, Rav Nussin, China Rochel, Bat Gitta Ganelman, she should have a refuah shlema, Breslov. You know, you heard from the rabbis. You have to understand we're brought up in Brooklyn, and let's get down to facts. We were gangsters when we were kids. We were bums, running in the street, hanging around with Talyanis in the park, and had no knowledge of the depth of Torah that we were going to receive. All of a sudden, after many years, I have to give thanks to Joey Bijo and Rafi Batesh Alev Shalom that invited me to go upstairs when the rabbi was speaking one Saturday night in Shaddai Sion. And looking at him for the first time, seeing a rabbi clean shaven with a crew cut haircut and immaculate suit and white shirt and tie and shiny shoes, I couldn't believe it, because usually our rabbis are from other countries and, you know, they have beards or no beards, whatever it is, but they didn't look shiny like he did. And he started to speak in the class, and I was mesmerized. And that's what turned my whole life around. You know, we have a doctor in the audience, my personal doctor, Dr. Maydad. I want to ask him, when you get an injection or an infusion, what is that called? An IV. You get an IV pick. Person sick, Chas v'shalom. He goes to the hospital. He needs an IV right away. Hurry up. They can put some antibiotic in there, whatever it is. It goes through the arm, goes through the heart. One class of Rabbi Rosenfeld, you got an IV for life. Not for 1 hour like the doctors give us. For life. What he could say in 1 hour shiur was enough for a person to change his whole life, which he did. We can't talk how great he was because we don't have enough time. And we can't say all this that we wrote, my grandson and I. You could take it home with you if you want, but there's not enough words and not enough time to say how great he was. He was a one-stop shop. He had personal conversations with Rabbi Moshe Feinstein every day, halachot on the phone. He had a little desk next to his little room, and it had a chair with wheels. He used to slide into the case to get our case, open it and close it, and now be on the phone all in 1 minute. It was unbelievable to watch him. So what happened now? We learned Torah. Okay, Baruch Hashem. He gave us such an injection, and he turned the whole community around. People used to, religious, Shomer Shabbat people, they used to go to shul, take the yarmulke, put it in their pocket. And the rabbi said, what are you doing? Why are you taking the yarmulke off? Shabbos, you're not going to leave it up. We were afraid to go to walk in the street because the goyim might beat them up. And this went on, and they had arguments with the parents. And the parents said, what rabbi told you that we're Sephardic, we only wear kippah when we daven or when we say Birchat Hamazon, and that's it, we put it in our pocket. We don't walk in the street with kippahs. That was war number one. And as anybody knows about Rabbeinu Zal, he had a greatest student in the world, Rabbeinu Tanzal. Rabbeinu Tanzal wrote everything that Rabbeinu Zal said almost in his mind that he could remember. And when he walked in the street back in Moscow, I believe it was, Breslov, the people used to throw rocks at Rabbeinu Tanzal, actual rocks, and try to hit him in the head with the rocks. Why? Because he's teaching Rabbi Nachman's Torah. And they asked the person, did you accomplish everything in your life? The person said yes, except one thing. So they asked him, what was the one thing? He said, I threw a rock at Rabbeinu Tanzal and I missed. I wanted to hit him in the head with the rock, but the rock missed him. And I don't know if Hashem is going to forgive me. Rabotai, this is how deep the Satan can go in everybody's body and twist the mind. And especially when you learn philosophy. I see a lot of young guys, all of a sudden, they have black hats, Baruch Hashem. They wear yarmulkes, Baruch Hashem. They wear sassi. I speak to a kid in the shul, in Deal. He tells me he's a rabbi. I said, how can you be a rabbi? He said, no, you get a slicha on the computer. $500, you learn the computer, and you get slicha. This is a rabbi. I said, you don't even know what's going on. You don't even know if the light outside is turning green or red. You're gonna give classes. And that's how it is. It hurts to see this. But you have to understand, Rebbe Zal said one thing that was poison. What was his poison? What was this thing that he stressed? He stressed philosophy. Asur, to learn philosophy, it will damage your neshama. If the gam on your soul will be stained. And you can never get rid of that philosophy that you heard or taught. And lo and behold, you see, many guys go to yeshiva, university, this and that. They're learning philosophy. They're poison. Now go get those people and try to teach them Torah. You got a tough case. Today, I got a phone call from the initial line. And the guy is telling me in Hebrew, I listen, I got 100 pages here I got to say tonight, which I'm not going to say. But I have no time to talk to you. He says, no, Rabbi David, you have to give us the word. You're on radio in Yerushalayim, and we need you to talk. What made you so close to Rabbi Rosenfeld? And what's this and what's that? And how are you still with him? Are you still? I said, hold on, I have no time. But he forced me to talk. So at the end, I told him that we were persecuted in America. We were actually persecuted. Every rabbi, mostly, Hashem forgive me, they didn't love Rabbi Rosenfeld. If you're a baseball player and you're batting 500, let's say, and you see a guy batting 1,000, you're going to like him. You're going to be jealous. That's the natural nature. Because he answered every question exactly where it was written. And that bothered a lot of people. And he answered it to our minhag, not Ashkenaz. He started with Glad Kosher, they wanted to shoot him. He started with the mikvah, they wanted to shoot him. They started with Halal Yisrael, they wanted to kill him. Started with the cheese, is not kosher from Atlantic Avenue on Pesach. You go, the 8th day of Pesach, people are going, driving. Where's Rabbi Yosef? Is he here? Driving to Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. On Pesach, the holy Pesach, in their car, going to an Arab store, buying Syrian bread, Syrian cheese, Syrian ice cream, coming back home, leaving it in the car, bringing it up, the minute Pesach's over, everybody's eating the bread and the cheese. What happened? Where's this halakha coming from? When you stop this from the people, they want to kill you. And the parents don't want it. We had rabbis in the community, so-called rabbis, they told the kid, if the father makes a deuce, and the father's not Shomir Shabbat, you cannot drink his wine. When Rabbi Rosenfeld heard that, he said, who told which rabbi? We found out. We addressed the rabbi head to head, and it wasn't a pleasant conversation. How can you tell a son not to drink the wine of his father? I don't care if he just murdered Al Capone. The guy has the wine in his hand. He's saying the deuce, and it's Friday night. How can you say you can't touch his father's wine? Of course, they didn't even know about the idea of shell anyway. And this is what we went through. So the rabbi that called me from Yerushalayim, he said to me, what is the most important thing that you remember? I said, I just told you, we were persecuted. He says, how? I said, listen, Rabina Tanzal, they threw rocks at him. And they threw rocks at him, and they threw rocks and wanted to kill him and everything with these rocks. Here in America, they threw milim, they threw words at us. Crazy Hasidim, Hefayet V'Ched, which means their heads are in the wall. And we had a small amount of students, but he gave that injection where Rabbi Masselton, Murray Masselton, Alav Shalom and I, he gave an injection that I was on fire with Teshuvah back. They say a person who makes Teshuvah back is higher than the Tzaddikim. He's on a high level. And that's how we felt. First of all, we have a Brooklyn background. We have fighting in our minds, when we're kids, with Talyanis and things like that. Now we got Torah. We're not going to fight for the Torah. So I go to Shari Sion. What do I see? Rabbi Machlis, I think I live with Shalom. He was the Mashgiach in Shari Sion. Saturday night they have a wedding. Saturday night is over at 5:30. The guy's in the kitchen 3:30 cooking. Rabbi Machlis is the Mashgiach. I said, what are you doing? You can't, how'd you get the key? So the guy comes with a butcher knife. Says, if you don't get out of the kitchen, I'm going to shechter you. Rabbi Machlis came over to me. I was in Shari Sion. And he started shaking and crying. He told me the story. And Baruch Hashem, I didn't go to jail. Baruch Hashem. But this guy never opened the restaurant in Shari Sion before Shabbat was over. But these are the things we went through. And the rabbi hated 1,000,000% no violence, no violence. Elliot Beebe's are here, you don't forget. We were young, and someone threatened the rabbi. They told him, if you come to my son's wedding, I'm going to shoot you with a gun. So the kid, Ashkenaz, hello, how are you? What are you guys? We sacrificed our life for you guys. So we went to he told us the story, so I told Elliot we got to go to the wedding. So we went to the wedding, and they described what his father looked like. And I told Elliot, but he doesn't remember, so he's got to take those pills, doctor. He's got to take some pills. I told him, you take one chair, steel bridge chair, I'll take another bridge chair. When the father walks down the aisle, if you see us put his hand in his pocket or in his chest, we come down with the chairs right over his head. But I told him, and he don't remember, I'm burning, he don't remember. Don't hit each other's chair. Either I go first or you go first, but then we get rid of this guy. So the guy happened to be a miracle. Put his hand in his pocket. I have the chair ready, and I see a bottle of schnapps coming out of his pocket. Turned around to the rabbi, told him, let's have a drink. I couldn't believe it, it was a miracle. Anyway, as time goes by, it says you have to asir lechanov, and it was very hard to find a rabbi after he was mistaled. That was impossible. I mean, you could go to the biggest tzaddik in the world. They say when you make teshuvah, you'll be with the highest tzaddikim. Well, coincidentally, no, there's no coincidence. When we made teshuvah, I met the chief rabbi of Eretz Yisrael, Yitzhak Nassim. He was the chief rabbi of Israel before Rabbi Obadiah Yosef. So I met him. Then I went to Yerushalayim, and I met Rabbi Atiyah, Alei Shalom. Who's Rabbi Atiyah? Rabbi Hacham Obadiah Yosef's rabbi. And I have a picture of him giving me a berachah. Then who did we meet? Rabbi Obadiah Yosef. I have him in the picture. And it goes on, and we met tzaddikim. You can't believe these tzaddikim that lived in our generation. We had tzaddikim that walked from Russia to Israel 12 years by foot. We have tzaddikim in the Breslov community that stopped talking for 40 years because he didn't want to talk Lashon Hara. We had people, tzaddikim that looked in the book, never looked up. They never, when they walked in the street, they put the talit over their head. Rav Shmuel Shapiro on Purim, he was drinking with the rabbis, and he got drunk. In Israel, they don't understand. You put wine and then whiskey and then ada and this all in one glass. You know, you got to be King Kong to drink that. So Shmuel Shapiro drank a whole glass Purim, and what do you think happens? He goes downstairs on the bus. He stops the bus. The bus driver stops in the Asharim. He tells the guy, stop the bus. He goes on the bus driver looking, one of these Hasidim with the striped robe coming on the bus. They don't usually go on his bus, because there's ladies on the bus. He grabbed the bus driver by the neck. Take me to Uman! Take me to Uman right now! The guy called the police. There's a crazy guy, he's choking me. But this is the reality. We have in us a certain blessing that you can't believe. We did things that's unbelievable. And yet we're sitting here listening to Torah and all this. It means nothing. We did miracles. I'm telling you, absolute miracle. We put 150 kids in yeshiva from the strength of Rabbi Rosenfeld's law. They turned out to be rabbis. In our community, we have rabbis walking around with their children in yeshiva. We put them in right yeshiva. And they're all religious today. From the 150, there could be a few thousand today walking around in our community. In fact, I see my nephew, my son-in-law, David Sutton, his brother, His brother, I think I put in Bratton Yeshiva. Is that correct?
Yes, in my class.
And then Ronnie we put, and then we sent one day to the Miri Yeshiva, Rabbi Kolometsky. I used to be famous. I was all around the place. Because I didn't work. I got married. I didn't work for 7 years. So what happened? I see Rabbi come. I got some Sephardic kids. We got to put some in the yeshiva. He says, no, we can't. We're Ashkenaz. We're learning. I says, you got to help. But we're about Teshuvah. We're trying to, do good things. He said, okay, bring them. So I bring 7 guys to Rabbi Kolometsky in the Miri Yeshiva. One guy had a hair up their shoulders. In those days, there was hippies, exactly. So we took him upstairs to the yeshiva. He went to the class. And Rabbi Kolometsky gave him a class. You go to this classroom. The kid comes out. He comes home. He's got like $100 in his pocket, all change. I said, how come you got so much money? He said, no, my mother gave it to me. Rabbi Kolometsky calls me up on the phone. Assoulin, can you come here right now? I said, what up? Yes. You have to come now, not later, now. So I go, I said, what is it? He says, you gave us a guy, he robbed all the Pishkins. He robbed all the Pishkins. I get you're Sephardic, we're Ashkenaz. We don't go. You have a different road to get in. We don't do this. So we had to take all the kids out because of that kid. Anyway, I brought him home, I gave him a haircut. He was 6'4", and he was crying like a baby. But this is what happens. Time goes by, we do things that you can't believe. We did Tikkun HaKlali Olamit. Hashem blessed me with a thought to read the Tikkun HaKlali. The whole world read it. Over 1 million people read it. Incidentally, Rabbi, thank you for coming. And his Rabbi Asher has a lot of students. B'ezrat Hashem, he will be the future one in Brooklyn. Here he is right here. So what I'm saying now, we did so many miracles. Now, let's hear about a miracle. This is all because of Rabbi Rosenfeld. We have an apartment in Uman, and all of a sudden we meet Dr. Maydab. The big doctor. Wow, we got a doctor in the audience. It's a big douche for us, We all got pills, aspirins, Tylenol, Z-Packs. Now we got the real doctors sleeping with us. So one day we made, my kids, Shvitari made candles for Shabbat, for the holiday, or Rosh Hashanah. Anyway, make a long story short, I said I would never say this without him, because he was an eyewitness. And one of the candles lit and started burning the woodwork, and there was a fire in the house, 3 o'clock in the morning. And he started yelling and screaming, there's a fire. And Nachman woke up, and Sally Safety was out. He was in the room, and Nachman, and Nathan, and Stephen. So this fire was getting out of hand. So Nachman took water and he threw it on the fire. The fire got worse. It got worse. He didn't know what to do. So the doctor made that said, we got to get out of here. I wasn't there, Baruch Hashem. So I was next door. So what did they do?